This is a short guide to using Google Drawings. So this is one of the most underrated apps that there are in G Suite for Education. One of the great things about it is you can add text and you can add images to pages and you can move them wherever you want, which is a little more tricky to do in Google Docs, just like it's a little more tricky to do in Word. So here you can see we've got an example of a poster design. Now in our scheme of work, in the Media Strand 23 talks about recognising the features of good design. And so it's worth talking to the children and doing some work about good design and what good design looks like and before you want to create a finished product with them. So in here you'll see that I've tried to use the same font. So we've got some consistency of font, we've got some consistency of colours, not too many colours. It's the right design for the right audience, I hope. It's using fonts that go with that kind of fast food and exciting approach. And we've got the right audience. So this is one example. It's not the example we're going to make. I'm going to show you a different example. So this is making an information poster about a shark. So what I want to do is I want to recreate this poster with you. Now what I did was I used a website called DK Find Out so that I could find some basic information about the shark and why it looks like it does. So let's have a look and see if I can start from scratch at making this poster again. So in Google Drive, I've logged in, and in Google Drive I'm going to go to New, and I can't see Google Drawings down here, but it does say More. So if I come over there, it says Google Drawings. So that opens up and it looks like this. So the first thing that we always do in any Google Doc is name it. So if I call this Shark Example, that means that I never have to name it again. You'll see over here it says saving, and now it says all changes saved. One of the things that does make a poster look quite good, I think, is a border. So I'm actually going to start with a border. Or I could start with an image. I think I'll start with an image actually, and then I'll put a border over it, but you can do it the other way around. So if I come along here, we've got, the great thing is we haven't actually got that many controls to look at. Print, undo, redo, we've got paint format and zoom to fit, and a zoom button, and we've got an arrow button so we can select different things. We've got this line button with a little drop down next to it where you can see we can put all these different things on the page. We've got this one which we're going to use quite heavily, which is the shapes button. So we can come over here and put some shapes on. And we've got the text box which we're going to use, and the image, and you can leave comments on it. So let's start with the image. If I go to image and I want to put an image, I can upload an image from my own computer and click there to upload it. Let's take a snapshot and by URL and your albums. So if you've got images in your Google Drive, you can use those and upload those as well. But I'm going to go to search. And so what happens here is that this searches for copyright-free images where we've got permission to use them on our site. So you've got a little drop-down arrow here. You can change it to search for different providers, Life magazine and stock images. But I'm going to stay with Google, and I'm going to search for great white shark. So we can do this within the browser. You see here it says any type. So if I want clip art, I can drop that down and just get clip art sharks. But let's go back to any type. I can go for different colours that I want in there, but I'm going to get my image. So let's see, I think this was the image that I chose before. So I'm going to click on it, click select, and it uploads that image onto the page. So I can make it bigger or smaller or move it around, but I'm just going to undo that and leave that there. Right, so now I'm going to put a border around my image. So to put a border around my image, I'm going to go to the shapes, and I'm going to click on here, and it says shapes. So I'm going to go for a rectangle, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle around the edge. So this is something the children need to get used to, clicking in one corner and not letting go, and dragging down to the other corner and then letting go down there. So I've done that, and obviously you'll see that that's over the top of my shark, and my shark's disappeared. So let's have a look and come along here. So now that something's on the screen, we've got all these format options. So I've got a fill colour here, so filling my rectangle. Well, I don't want to fill my rectangle, so I'm going to go to transparent, and make it transparent. But what I do want to do is I want to give the, I want to get the border colour. So the border colour at the moment's black. I could change that. I'm going to leave it. So I'm going to have a black border, but we can hardly see it. So I need to make the border weight a bit bigger. So let's go for something like 12. There we go. So I've gone for 12 there. So I've now got a border around it. I can click on that and go back and make it thicker if I want. Sometimes people get a bit confused by clicking on the border or clicking on the shark, and it's easy to get a little bit mixed up there. So what I can do now is I can add some text. So if I just click on text box and put that where I want my text to go, the great white shark, and I can just get rid of that extra capital letter there. So I can highlight this, and you'll see here I've got fonts. So I'm going to go to the font that I used before, which was Permanent Marker. I could use any of these other fonts, and there's even a section where you can get more fonts down there. But I'm just going to pop Permanent Marker. So if you can't see the font that you want, let me just show you this. You can go to More Fonts, and then you can display more fonts there, and then it will add to your list of fonts. If I just click there, then that will add to that list, and then you can see it actually changes it there. But let's go back and put Permanent Marker in. It's obviously too small. I'm going to make it bigger, and maybe bigger again. There we go. And if I keep going along here, I've got text colour. Now what some children do is they mix up the text colour here with the border colour. So this one, this fill colour. So this fill colour, if I click on this and choose red, you'll see it's going to make a background that's red there, which doesn't look very consistent. I don't think that looks very nice. So I'm just going to undo that. So let's just go back here, highlight this, and make this text white. So let's have a look. There we go. So the text is white. Now let's go back to the the example of the shark one that I had. So this is the one. Sleek fins allow the shark to accelerate. So you can see how I've done this. I've just put the text on the page, and then I've got the arrow there. So it's nice and easy to do, is that, if I can get on the right one. So I can just tap on the text and sleek fins. I won't type the whole thing. I'll just put sleek fins. You get the idea. So if I click that, I want to make that font the same as the font at the top. So we've got some consistency, and I want to get the colour right where. I'm actually going to make that a bit bigger. It's a little bit hard to read there. So one of the things we need to do as well, really, for children is to get them to put their name on their work. So if you're printing it out, it's got a name on it. Always looks nice. So I've got, oops, just moved that by mistake. I've got sleek fins there. So if I've clicked on this, I'm actually using my arrow keys there to move it where I want, as well as dragging it with a mouse. So just make it a little bit smaller. And then I can go back here to the shapes and go to the arrows, and then click on the arrows, and then drag the arrow to where I want it to go. And the arrow, I've got the option as well with the arrow here to change the fill colour for something else, or the border weight. So I've got that where I want it to go. What you can also do with this arrow is you've got this little blue circle there, so I can click it and I can move it around. You'll notice that on the first example that I made here, that some of these arrows are at an angle. Well, that's how I did it, so I just did that. So it's pretty straightforward, but I think it should be used more because it's a fantastic piece of software. It's so simple for children to use, and of course, once they've done it, everything is saved. The thing that they need to remember to do when they've done their piece of work is to go to the share button and share it with the teacher, so they can put your email address in there, or your Google user, I should say, and share it with you, and then that will turn up in your My Drive, and you can go to Shared with Me, and it will be in there. You'll be able to see the children's work. So yeah, it's great for this. It's also great for plan views. In Year 4 in our scheme of work, we talk about doing a plan view where you're looking down on a room and maybe designing a room or designing an environment with squares and rectangles that are all labelled like a plan. So it's great for that as well. So that's a quick guide to Google Drawings.